the cultural environment of Macau. And we have just been qualified by the Macau government as a public utility for our 2-year endeavor. Now we will invite CEO of Green Foundation, Dr. Alvaro Barbosa, to say a few words.
Thank you for coming. Thank you, Alvaro Barbosa, for your exhibition, for a very nice exhibition. Our foundation is here to contribute to the culture of Macau, and this is also undoubtedly a very beautiful contribution to it. I think we are eager to listen to Alvaro Barbosa and adventure, and so I don't take much time. I'm just welcoming everybody and thanking the artists. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ball. Today's book launch and exhibition is organized by Uni Arts and Culture. Uni is a non-profit collaborative arts organization that is working to promote art and culture in and around Macau. They bring together artists from Macau with international artists from every corner of the globe in order to promote the intellectual sharing of ideas between all cultures. Christine, could you please say a few words about Uni?
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Christine, founder of the Uni. Actually, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the artist Mr. Bohr for his amazing work and opportunity for us to have this exhibition here in Macau. And Hui, with your great efforts to offer us this beautiful venue, which is very scarce in Macau, so we really appreciate it. And also ICM, without ICM support, this book would not be here. A little bit about Uni. We were founded 3 years ago, and we've been trying to bring in many overseas artists, and including local artists, to do different exhibition, publication, and music and concert. We try to bring in as many inspiration artists as possible because Macau is towards this path, becoming very international, and having one of these artists here inspire us to be a better world, better human being. It's just much more interesting, living in a city which is so congested with a lot of casinos and really art makes people happier, really better human being in my personal view. So we hope that we're going to get a lot of support from our sponsor, our friends, our families, and continue to produce more great events for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Alvaro Barbosa is the author of Journey to the Lost Frontier, multi-hero artist and academic, based in Macau. His work as a sound designer, interactive installation artist, that digital music performer and animation film director has been extensively presented internationally. Alvaro is presently an associate professor and dean of the Faculty of Creative Industries at the University of St. Joseph. Alvaro, could you please share with us a few words about the exhibition and the book launch?
Thank you very much. So first of all, I would also like to thank all the support we have from ICM, from the Green Foundation, especially for me that put this book together. And I would like to welcome everyone who's present here today to be able to see this exhibition and the book, especially the book. Especially the book because I've been working with this team on the FRC ever since I traveled to this very likely place in 2012 in the summer, in part of the summer. And part of the summer is only 3 months in a year. It's from January to February. That's the only time you can visit this continent. Unless you go and you stay there. If you stay there in the winter, you can visit this continent during the winter. So I went there in 2012, and ever since then I have many materials that I've been using in some of my projects as an artist. Most of these projects have been about sound design, music composition, and video. This is what I usually use to work. But I also have made, I think, very interesting photographs. Maybe not technically professional photographs. I don't know, I'm not a professional photographer, but I think that the photographs I've made convey an environment experience. And this is what I'm trying to achieve with this exhibition, and most of all with my book. So my book finally able to put together the main photographs that I wanted to show that somehow convey the experience I had when I went to this place. And so thanks to my beautiful wife, Christine, I was finally able to put this book together under her non-profit organization. And I published some of these photographs in other events and other books even, but I was never able to put together the book that I wanted to. So this is the first time I can do it. You see, this book is a very high quality print of the photographs, and you can see those photographs there the way I wanted them to be seen, exactly as they were taken. I didn't transform or change any of those images. All of them were printed exactly as they were taken in the art. So I welcome you to see the book, and the exhibition is only part of the book. It only talks about icebergs, but the book tells a different story. It talks about the Antarcticans, the animals that live in Antarctica. I think icebergs are also animals, but in the book you can see real animals. So I don't know if we're going to move on to talk about the feeling or the...
So we can elaborate more in the conversation later on. So thank you, Alvaro. And now we will welcome Mr. Yoshiki to be here in the middle. And Mr. Dr. Duval and Christine and Alvaro being here for a photograph. And Unity Arts and Culture and Christine and Alvaro Barbosa would like to give a little gift to Mr. Yoshiki and Mr. Duval. It's a photography book, Journey to the Last Frontier. Thank you, everyone. Now shall we begin our conversation? Okay, thank you everybody for coming to this conversation session with Christine and Alvaro Barbosa to explore more about the project Journey to the Last Frontier. Christine, how do you come across this project?
I met Alvaro about a year and a half ago. And through uni, we were seeking for, is it too loud?
No, you hold me. Don't hold me.
Oh, okay. And we were, first time we met, we would like to see a collaboration opportunity between Uni and USJ, because I know he's the new hotshot in town, the creative industry, the dean of the USJ. So, through the conversation, I learned that he been to Antarctica. He's the first person that I know personally been to Antarctica. I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. But after he told me more about this and showed me videos about it, and there are really a great project and an expedition that they did, the artist and himself and his partner. So we decided to look for opportunity to publish a book and maybe some more extensive, events, concert. We actually did one concert with the same theme in Hong Kong. We hope that in the future we can bring it to Macau as well. And of course, the exhibition and this book for today.
So there is actually the Journey to the Last Frontier is not only about the book, which is launching today, but also about concert, multimedia concert, and also exhibition. So Alvaro, can you tell us a little bit more about the background of this project?
Okay, I'll try to make this short because when I start telling the story, usually I just ruin the interview because we won't have time for any more questions. So I'll try to make it short. So basically, this whole idea started when I was working at the university in the United States, Stanford University in California,
And I was working there doing a postdoc, which is a research project that people do when we are an academic. And my field of research and artistic practice is music, digital music technology, and also video. I also do a lot of video. And I was working in a 9-month period over there, and I ended up meeting one Portuguese colleague that was there also, doing sort of an internship that was invited by the university. His name is Victor Gama. Victor Gama is, I already know him from before because he's a very well-known, acknowledged artist. You know, he's done musical pieces that have been performed at Carnegie Hall by the Kronos Quartet. So he's a very well-known composer and instrument designer. He was born in Angola, like me, and he designs instruments that are inspired in the African culture. And he's a very well acknowledged, actually he's more well known outside of Portugal than in his own country. But in reality, I was very happy to meet him there, and we started somehow working together. At the same time, Victor had been commissioned by the Chicago Symphony Orchestra to create a music and video piece that takes a long time to explain what this piece is all about, but I will just tell you that it's a piece that implies the use of images from the Antarctica. And at that time, he had a budget to do this, to create this piece, and he just realized that the budget that he had to buy those images of icebergs and images of the Antarctica for this piece was actually enough to pay for an expedition to go to the Antarctica. So he invited me to go with him, and we both went there in this expedition to record sounds, record video, film, and photographs to use as the source materials for this piece that premiered in March 2012 by the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. It's called Vela 691. But what happened also was that this experience was much more than we anticipated. So I did get a lot of materials from there, and I've been using those materials over the last 2 years for all my artistic work. I'm actually at the point of moving on to something else, but I've been using these materials very extensively, and it's a very rich source of images and sounds that I have from this experience.
So I really look forward to seeing the multimedia concert and which the audio clippings in the expedition are used. Will we be having a chance of enjoying the concert in Macau?
Well, we had a very good opportunity to have this multimedia concert with the same theme, Journey to the Last Frontier, in Hong Kong last October. And working with the Hong Kong New Music Ensemble is extremely interesting because with the video images and the sound that Alvaro collected, and with improvised on the spot kind of music, it was a really great experience. We are trying to bring the same concept to Macau, but maybe with some additional pieces and regarding this theme. So hopefully, yes, in the very near future, if we also get support by the government and local musician artists. Yes.
Cool. So besides of the concert, let's go back to the book, the book. So the photography book consists of 2 sections: Drifting Ice and Antarcticans. Alvaro, can you tell us a little bit about these 2 sections?
Sure. The exhibition you see here is not a new exhibition. Some of the people here have seen this exhibition before. It has been presented before. However, this book is really the first time I can, as I said before in the introduction, it is the first time I can put together the complete series of photographs that portray the experience that I had by going to the Antarctica continent. When most people they imagine that the Antarctica, at least I imagine the Antarctica in a very different perspective than I have experienced when I was there. I imagine that the Antarctica would be like, a white desert, silent, with with no smell, or almost no sound, maybe some wind. I don't know. I would think it would be a place where you go and you get your senses are deprived from color, smell, and sound. And the reality was, when I got there, I had the opposite experience. I'm sure the Antarctica that I imagine exists, I just didn't witness it, because the region of the Antarctica that I've been is very rich in terms of all these senses. It has intense colors you can see on the photographs, and this is somehow what I try to get with this exhibition, is that the experience of a place where you have very strong landscape and very sharp colors, especially the striking blue of the icebergs. And it's also not quiet at all. Those you will see on the book. There was a very striking photograph of a gigantic penguin colony. Those penguin colonies, you 3 or 4 kilometers away, you can already listen to them. And worse, you can smell them, because you might think there's no smell in this place. Let me tell you, it's not a pleasant smell, but the smell of a penguin colony, you will never forget it. It's very, very intense, and you can feel it coming in many miles away. So the experience I had was very different than whatever I anticipated. And I also observed that not only in terms of the senses, but in terms of what I found there, that I didn't expect to see so many animals. I also didn't expect to feel about these icebergs as if they were almost living beings, looking into how the science behind how icebergs are formed and how they melt away, how they form an orbit around Antarctica in the winter, almost like the planet, like the satellites around the planets. So observing all this, I just got much more than I anticipated. And what I really wanted to do was to try to convey this experience to people, either by doing music or presenting videos like the ones you see right here at this moment you're seeing, which is what I call in my book the cemetery of icebergs. A place where the icebergs go to die, like the elephants in Africa. They also choose this place and they go to die there. So the icebergs, something similar happens to them. They got caught in some coves and they melt away there. So all these experiences, I was trying to put them together in some sort of narrative and convey them to people that were not there, and somehow. And the way I found to do it was through those live performances, with video and audio and sound and music, but also with photographs. And I hope you can have a sense of this experience by looking at these photographs here at the exhibition hall, but also by looking at the book.
I would like to know more about the life cycle of iceberg. Just now you have mentioned that the iceberg actually they're like human beings. Can you tell us a little bit more?
No, they're not really like human beings, but I use this metaphor. Obviously, they're not live beings; they're just ice, and it's not salty water. This is why they float. But what I realize is that the Antarctic icebergs, they have a very unusual, for me, unexpected life cycle. The way it works, and you'll see this is more or less the structure of the book, is that they are formed by big chunks and pieces of ice that separate from the mainland Antarctica, from the ice, from the ice mountains and the ice fields, and they just separate and start floating in the ocean. What happens is that the Antarctica continent is a very large, very extensive continent. I think it's the biggest continent on Earth. And it's, in fact, if you see it from below, and this is the photograph, the image that you see, the graphic on the book, these icebergs end up floating around the Antarctica, almost like the satellites around Earth, because there's like this tide, this very consistent tide that goes around the continent. And so the icebergs, they start floating and floating around, and they go around the Antarctica all the time. And they can last up to 9-10 years, maybe more sometimes. This is just an estimation, but it really depends on the size of the iceberg, right? But what happens sometimes is that they end up melting away. Eventually, they always melt away. And there's different ways that they can die, that they can melt away. One of the ways is that they stray from this orbit around the Antarctica, and they go north. And they go to the warm waters and they melt and disappear, scattered in the ocean. Another way is that they just continue to float around in their orbit until one day they end up melting anyway, or maybe this is the way they last longer. But another very interesting way that I discovered while I was there is they sometimes die in places like this. This is an underwater shot of a field of icebergs that were melting away, and the reason for that is because in the Antarctica continent there's these very big coves where sometimes these icebergs in their orbits, they get stuck in these coves. And when they get stuck there, they all stay there together, melting very slowly. You'll see over there by the end of the narrative that this exhibition takes you, there will be some melting icebergs. And I call this place the cemetery of icebergs. It's a place where icebergs go to die. And I was thinking about these things, and always imagining that these pieces of ice, maybe there's some resemblance to humans. In fact, one of the stages of their life that I call it Into the Wild, if you know about Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, it's one of the structure for classic narratives that you can argue that almost all narratives follow the Joseph Campbell's hero journey. And it's very classic. You are born, and there's one point where the main character of the story goes into the wild. That's when he finds out about himself, that when he's going to an adventure, this will change his life, and then he comes back and changes his own community. So I call Into the Wild the time where the icebergs spend away in the ocean. Those icebergs over there on the left, on this curved wall, are the ones that are further away from the Antarctica. Those are the first ones I saw when arriving from the Drake Channel in the boat, and those are the first icebergs I could photograph. The one on the left is the first iceberg I've ever seen. That iceberg over there, my boat was 1/3 of that size. This is the boat. This is the boat that we're traveling. This is a boat from the 70s, an oceanographic boat that was converted into a boat that takes people to the Antarctica. Did I answer? Maybe not.
Yes, you did. So Alvaro just now mentioned about the narrative of the exhibition. So just for your information, the exhibition starts over there, the Lemire, and then it goes to there, the second part is over there, and then it ends with the curved wall. The back of the curved wall and then the front of the curved wall. So it portrays the life cycle of the iceberg from the beginning when they detach from the mainland Antarctica, and then it traps into and then it travels along the orbit, and then it slowly melts down or traps into the bay of the Antarctica, or sometimes it goes to beach, lands on the beach and then melts down slowly.
Lesson learned. Lesson learned.
Oh, you told us just now. Yes, I learned the lesson. So the photography book is priced at 180 MOP and is available in bookstores in Macau and Amazon.com. However, we are selling the book today and during the exhibition period in Hui Cunha Foundation Gallery at a special offer, 100 package each. So get one while stock lasts. Christine. It's your turn. I know that. Do you mind? I know that there is like an upcoming project of Uni Arts and Culture. Do you mind to introduce a little bit?
Right. This is time for us to promote our Uni Association, right? So this year, beside this book project, we actually have another book project coming up, aiming to be published in September this year. The title is called Why Macau. We have been working on this project for over a year right now, inviting different people from different industry and ethnic backgrounds to write about their own story, why they choose Macau to be a place for them to live. So it's a very interesting book because it will consist of many different languages. Everybody will write in their own native language. So Chinese, Portuguese, Japanese, and even Patois. So we will let you know when it comes out, and our book launch will also be here, I believe.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for the conversation today. Thank you very much, Christine and Alvaro. I wish you the success in our upcoming projects. So we have prepared some cocktails at the opposite side of the gallery, and the book can be purchased at a special price of 100 barakish today and during the exhibition period over there. So I hope you enjoyed yourself tonight, and thank you very much for your participation. Question, yeah, Q&A. Sure, there's Q&A. So any questions?
Should be allowed.
Okay.
Can I do the first one?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Okay. Just I'd like to know, what about music? What music did you find there?
Well,
What music did you find there?
yes, so if you really know your photograph, if you're a photographer, you probably look at these photographs and maybe you'll see these were not taken by a professional photographer. And if you're a musician, maybe you've noticed that there's something about these photographs that tells you they were taken by a musician. So what I was looking for when I took most of these photographs, most of them also exist in video. So the way I operate, I just take a video, I put my camera like that on the stand, and I just take a video and I take the photographs. So you'll see some of the images you see on video here, they're all also photographs. And what I was trying to do when I capture most of these photographs, I was not looking for beauty in itself. I was looking for scenarios, for scenography, for the music that I had in my head. So we knew, me and Victor Gama, what was the music that we were gonna perform in advance. So the music was written when we went to the Antarctica, most of it. So we knew what this music was, and we were trying to find the framing and the elements that would be able to illustrate the feeling for that music. So hopefully, if you listen to the music that we've done for this piece and you watch these images, they should go pretty well together because the images were captured to illustrate the music. So for me, the two things go together. But I cannot really describe the music. I think you have to listen to it in order to know what I'm talking about, maybe. Yes, please.
What sort of accommodation did you have on the converted scientific ship? And were there other people like tourists on board, or other professors, or what?
So this is a boat that is probably the cheapest boat that goes to the Antarctica, and that takes people there. And so maybe we can call these people tourists, but I'm not really. I don't know if they were typical tourists that you imagine. So this is a very small boat. Overall it takes about 50 people, including the crew, not more. The boat is in the cover of the book, so you see a penguin, and on the back you see that boat. And it's a very old boat. It's from the 70s, so it's not very comfortable. I had a very small room, the size of maybe twice this table, for me and my colleague Victor, with one of those two-level bunk bed, and it was really next to the engine of the boat. So it's a very difficult. By the way, this is one of the most well-known photographs that I have. And this is I'll get back to this, but just explain this is a photograph. This may be one of the most famous from all this series, and that's also a video. This is a video, it's not a photograph. But getting back to the boat, so the people in this expedition were some people that were paying just to go there. There was a lot of people from universities, from Spanish universities, and some from China as well. They usually from geology background. They were trying to, and from biology as well, I think. So we met some interesting people. We did a documentary as well, where we interviewed some of these people and the reason why they went to this trip. They were mostly there to observe, and to capture some images. It was not comfortable. It's not one of those cruises that you can do, because we had some funding from the orchestra, but it was enough for us to go in this boat, but not enough for us to go in a cruise boat.
Where do you book that boat?
This boat is owned by an Australian company specifically in Sydney, and they operate their offices in Sydney, but they operate from Ushuaia, which is the city on the south of Argentina. It's called the last city on Earth, which is not true because there's a city on Antarctica, McMurdo, close to on the Australian side. And even though this is an Australian company, I think they also operate boats going from Tasmania to the Antarctica, but they also own this other boat. So you have to talk to them. And
What's the boat's name? I'm just curious.
it's called the Ushuaia.
Did they rename it, or was that the old?
It's a rename. It's renamed. I don't know its original name, but it's called the Ushuaia. Actually, the boat, because it only goes out from Ushuaia.
There's a roughly cost. What's the cost?
So it was around 5,000 euros per person that we paid.
How many days?
It was 10 days. 10 days in the ocean.
Just 10 days. What does it take the trip? Right there.
2 days.
2 days to arrive.
2 days to go across the Drake Channel. Well, depends on the weather. It can take a little less. Well, in reality, it's more or less 2 days because you got a full day because you get there in the morning of one of the days. But then you don't know what is morning and what is night because it's always day. So at this time of year,
December, January.
you have to go to Antarctica. You can only go from December to February. Other than that, the continent is too cold to travel. Humans cannot go there.
December and February.
From December to February, that's the only opportunity you have. Of course, you can. Today, I saw when I was in Ushuaia in our small boat. I look around and I saw these gigantic cruises with the balconies and incredible suites for wealthy tourists.
Yeah, that's why I asked you, because I know they have them.
Yeah, they have them. You can do this same. But what you cannot do actually is the crew. They were all academics. All the people during the year they work at the universities in Argentina, and in the summer the Antarctic summer they do these cruises. So you cannot get the tutorials that they give you. I really learned a lot too. Every day they would give us lectures about the environment and the region. I learned a lot about the Antarctica by being with these people, and also they go on land. They actually can take the zodiacs, and I have many images that I took from the zodiacs. And they go out of the boat. Of course, you have to come back to the boat always, but you follow the protocol. It's a very strict protocol to go ashore of the Antarctica. You have to disinfect everything because you cannot take any diseases there. Otherwise, you'll kill an entire colony of penguins. But because these people are trained and they are professionals, you can go with them and you can follow protocol and you can go to the continent. Most of these cruises, they cannot go to the land. Some they can. Yes, David.
There has been recently some scientific papers suggesting that Antarctica may be universally melting. So we've been hearing a lot of comments from biologists, environmentalists, but not so much from people from the arts.
Yes.
Artistic look into Antarctica. Maybe it's a good opportunity to hear about it.
Yes, so as you know, the ozone hole is in the Antarctica, the biggest one. So this is supposed to be the place where most of this ice is melting. To be honest, in my imagination, the most interesting development coming from the melting of the ice does not really come from the Antarctica, because in reality, what happens if the ice melts in Antarctica? Well, you can see it on the book. You'll see some photographs of the Deception Island. It's one of the most interesting islands. It's a volcano on the way to Antarctica. If you look at the photographs of Deception Island, you can already know what is Antarctica going to look like when the ice melts away. We're probably going to find very many interesting things on the history of the world, that were frozen there. But more interesting, though, is what's going to happen in the Arctic region, where what is almost a continent will melt, and there will be nothing there. There will be an ocean. So this will change the way the world can operate, because you can just go across this ocean. The places that we take for granted, like Macau, as a place where we can live, will not be possible anymore because it will be underwater. So the world will transform to a different geography. And from artistic point of view, many times you detach yourself from the brutal reality that this kind of changes bring to human race, and you just look at the transformation. This is how artists like Leni Riefenstahl were acknowledged in the field of documentary and advertisement, even though she worked for the Nazis. This is also why my friend Victor Gama, he talks many times about this weaver bird that it's very weird because this weaver bird is a migrating bird, but there's a very strange pattern in the way it travels in this migration. It goes from the south of Argentina, then it goes to Africa, and then it goes to Brazil, and then it goes to Europe, and then it goes to North America, and then it ends up like in Sweden or in Norway. So people never figure out why is this bird going around in this zigzag? Why is it? People don't know. And someone figured out that if you actually put the continents together, like in the Pangaea, when everything was together, you get a straight line. Which is very interesting. But then again, this bird did not exist when the Pangaea was there. So what does that mean? Well, if you're an artist, that doesn't matter. Just this realization that you can speculate about these things. You can say that the hearse has memory, like the Africans believe, and that the birds are part of nature, and that they relate to these memories. So somehow they know this is what the land used to be like in those times. You can imagine these things, and you can create fantastic stories. You don't have to be stuck to the reality of the facts of science. I'm also kind of a scientist, so I struggle between these two worlds. Any other questions?
Project?
Yes. In a way, I'm almost done with this Antarctica, to be honest, because I've been working with these materials for 2 years. I'm very interested in bringing the multimedia, the concert piece. In a way, that this book is the achievement that I wanted. I finally put together the book that I wanted, and I really appreciate that. And I think in the near future, we might do some of these concerts. Christine was mentioning about this. I would be very happy to be able to perform this concert here and elsewhere. We've been playing in different places these pieces. And it's a very interesting experience, it's almost like a religious experience to be, especially if you have a good projection with these fantastic videos. I think it really works well. But I'm thinking about moving on to a different area of research that is kind of technical, scientific, and also artistic research. And I hope to be working in the near future with my friend and colleague João Cordeiro down there, looking at the soundscape of one of the most dense urban environments in the world, the last frontier of urban density, Macau. So we think that we've been discussing this quite a lot. We think that Macau is the ideal place to set up a research lab about the urban soundscape. Not only because it's very intense, the soundscape of Macau, but also because we can study it at different levels. We can study it in altitude. I live in the 40th floor, and I'm exposed to a soundscape that is very high. So you can measure the soundscape, the landscape of audio in this city in different layers, because this is a city in different layers, and you can also measure it in the waterfront. Our friends at the University of St. Joseph, they are working with underwater audio, how audio propagates underwater. When I look at those boats in the inner harbor where I live, and I see, I can imagine what's happening under those waters. I would like to measure that and to use those sounds for art and for science. So there is some work they made in Macau for the government is actually measuring the level of audio in the city, but only the level. It's not really capturing the audio. It's only measuring a number. And I think the audio is not a number. It's much more than that. Sound is like image. If you say that these photographs are 37 ANSI lumen of light, it doesn't tell you much about what's there. So when you measure the sound here in the street and you say it's 80 dBs, it also doesn't tell you much about the sound, only the level. But this is just a number. So I think Macau is a very rich place to study what we call the soundscape. My colleague João is just finishing his PhD in this research field, and we're very excited to be able to set up a research lab in this area in the future of USJ.
Any more questions?
When is the concert?
I don't know, this is for
Yes, we're
the
waiting.
manager.
We're waiting for the funding. Well, ideally, we actually had a plan to have it at the Science Center of Macau because we thought that this project is, very much science related. Unfortunately, we didn't have time, or no, the result hasn't come in. So hopefully, we'll keep on pursuing. Hopefully soon, we'll let you know.
This video has some music actually. It will be in the gallery when the exhibition is being performed. There will be some music. This video has some music in the background. It's the music from the piece from Hong Kong.
So the exhibition will begin today and ends on the 8th of June. So between this period, we can see the photos and then listen to the music of the journey to the last frontier. So thank you very much for everybody's participation. And over there, we have a cocktail there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.